Jim, you're getting very sleepy.
I'm getting very ill. What is that, Michelle?
Well, what does it look like?
Looks like a piece of a
it
plant or a thistle or a... Now, wait a minute. There's a little... That looks like a giraffe. Teeny little giraffe tail there on the end.
Well, if you notice, it's got the barbs on it.
Okay.
And the spine. It's actually a feather.
A feather? From which bird was this feather pulled?
Let's see if we can find out.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Come on. Let's go.
Out onto the African veldt. Do you know who this feather is from? Okay, which way? Which way?
Missing a feather.
I'm getting a strong hint. It wouldn't be that bird 60 feet to our left, would it?
That's it.
Rocky.
Right over here.
The crown crane?
That's right.
Cool.
Now, where is it from?
Just tell me.
You look, that's one of the feathers on the top of his head.
Ooh. I like
the crown is actually feathers.
Can we get closer?
Yeah, let's go on over and check them out. What's going on the veldt here?
Alrighty, and I'm so glad that Ian, our Zoo to You groupie, could come along. Watch us every single episode of Zoo to You every Saturday. Zoo to You, go!
Well, not really. Ian's out here to protect us.
Yes. Thank you, Ian. Protect us from what?
Well, actually, from the ostrich.
Yes. Thus, tools of the trade. What is it, Michelle?
This is an ostrich stick. This is what we use whenever the ostrich gets a little too close to kind of help remind him that he has to keep his distance from it.
How close does it get?
That's too close.
So if that Canada goose was an ostrich, you would just use this just like that.
That's right.
It just goes away.
It's magic.
And the V on the end fits right on either side of the giraffe's neck. How would you use an ostrich stick? If I were an ostrich, for example.
If you were an ostrich, we would put the stick at the base of the neck. Oh. And we'd actually use it to pivot to the side of the ostrich.
And away I go.
That's because...
I'm not messing with you.
That's right. Ostrich can only kick to the front, so you want to maintain yourself on their side.
Yeah, and seriously, that ostrich is, when you say kick, they got a toenail the size of, bigger than your foot, with this sharp claw on the end.
That's their main means of defense, so if we can avoid
you say
that...
eviscerate? The search for the missing crown feather continues. Michelle, tell me about Canada geese.
The Canada geese out on the veldt, they're kind of our personal pets. We love the Canada geese here.
We love all animals at the zoo, but
that's right.
The Canada geese are not from Africa. They eat a lot of food and they make a lot of mess out here.
Yes, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it.
Well, there he is. Hey, Rocky, you missing something? Well, there it is. And this, you know, besides having special crown feathers, this bird, Rocky, has a special story, doesn't he?
That's right. Rocky is actually one of the most amazing animals out here on the veldt. If you look real close, you'll notice he only has one wing.
One wing?
About 2 years ago, he got into an accident out here in the veldt and broke his wing. And we tried for months to get that wing to heal, and we couldn't. And actually, to save his life, we had to take the whole wing off.
Right.
And last year, he spent recuperating in the barn. This year, he's making his dramatic entrance back onto the veldt.
Cool. Lots and lots and lots of care went into Rocky.
The vet staff did an awesome job. And our staff, it just goes to show how much here at the zoo we care for our animals.
Yep. Through the magic of Zoo to You, we're going to go, let's go talk to the vet right now, okay? Here we go. Whew. On Zoo to You, we move quick. We're now in the zoo's animal hospital with the zoo's staff veterinarian, Dr. Joe Smith. Hi, Joe.
Hi, welcome back.
Can you give us a quick vet tour while we talk about Rocky?
Sure. Well, of course, you came in through the garage there, but here's our treatment room, and we'll just go on back to our radiology, where we've got a couple of radiographs of Rocky waiting.
I see him hanging up there. So your version of the Rocky story goes like what, Joe?
Well, this This story goes back quite a while, actually before I even started at the zoo. Rocky presented in 2003 with a fracture on the velt. We think maybe the wildebeest ran over him or something, but you can see here his humerus is completely fractured. One segment goes here, and then there's a big gap, and then here's the other segment.
That is one broken bone, and his humerus would be like our upper arm bone.
Our upper arm where our biceps are.
Yeah. Ouch!
Well, it didn't take us long after we discovered this fracture to take Rocky to an orthopedic surgeon who was a specialist to get it fixed. And you can see here in the second radiograph, there are a couple of metal rods in his wing to help stabilize those fractures.
Would be these, right?
Correct.
And what are these, Joe?
It's called
like little screwdrivers.
It's called an external fixator. There are two metal rods that go through each end of the wing, and then they are connected on the outside of the wing by a carbon-based rod, and that just helps to stabilize the fracture site even further.
That looks like a little piece of twisted wire, like you put on a plastic bag.
That's exactly what it is. It's called cerclage wire, and it's wrapped directly around the bone to help keep those fragments from fracturing further.
Right. So what happened when Rocky came back from the orthopedic surgeon?
Well, it'd normally take 4 to 6 weeks for that bone to heal, but one of the problems we ran into with Rocky was he developed an infection of that bone.
Uh-oh.
And the infection will delay the normal cells from allowing those bone pieces to come together.
Let me guess. No. Right in here, maybe?
Nope.
No, I guessed wrong.
The infection actually occurred right across where the bone fractured. And you can see this was a month later, and we don't have any healing of the bone fragments together. There's still a big gap. We put Rocky on several rounds of different antibiotics to try to clear up this infection. And here we are in January of 2004, several months later, and we still don't have complete healing of that fracture.
One more?
At this point, we were catching Rocky up. The keepers were twice a day to give him antibiotics orally. Wow. So there's a lot of effort involved in this, and he just still wasn't getting better. So in January of 2004, we decided to go ahead and amputate that wing. Rocky just wasn't doing well. He was feeling a little lethargic. So because this wing wasn't healing, we decided to go ahead and amputate it. And we brought him back to the orthopedic surgeon, and he amputated the wing right at the shoulder.
I guess if there's a choice between losing a wing or losing the bird's life, that's a pretty easy choice, really.
Absolutely. We don't allow the cranes here to fly on our veld, otherwise they'd fly away from the zoo. So missing a wing is not going to cause any problems for Rocky.
Right. Well, let's see what that looks like, Joe.
Well, these are actually radiographs we took in March of this year as part of a checkup. And as you can see, he's missing a complete wing there.
Sure is.
But otherwise, Rocky's doing really well. His white blood cell counts are back down. He no longer has any infection, and he doesn't have any wing to bother him.
So from when Rocky got stepped on by a zebra or wildebeest until this afternoon when Michelle and I were visiting with him, how many times would you say he was in the clinic or caught up to medicate total?
Well, after the wing was amputated, he had a bandage on, and there was a surgical wound that had to be dressed and cleaned, and we immobilized him about every 2 to 3 days for several months, just in order to get that to heal.
Yeah, so when Michelle says a lot of work went into Rocky, and Dr. Joe says a lot of work went into Rocky, a lot of work went into Rocky, but let's go back to the veld because you all know he's looking good.
The vet hospital, nobody standing on the boardwalk looking at that bird would realize how much work you guys put into him to get him back out here roaming the veld like that. You know, it looks like he is the king of the veld.
That's right. He has the crown to prove it.
Absolutely.